I'm sorry, is this yours? I looked up, startled, the wine glass almost slipping from my fingers. A tall man stood in front of me, holding one of my postcards, the kind I left on the gallery table hoping someone might notice. His eyes were a stormy shade of gray, and when they locked onto mine, I forgot how to breathe. I painted it, I said, swallowing hard. He tilted his head, studying it, then me. It's haunting, like it's hiding a scream beneath the surface. My cheeks warmed. Most people just say it's sad. Well, most people are blind. He offered a smile, crooked, charming. Dangerous. I'm Caleb. Elara. He stepped closer to close. You always paint like this with so much ache. I don't know how else to do it, I whispered. His eyes flicked to my lips. Good. Art shouldn't be polite. We stood in silence, the hum of chatter and clinking glasses fading into the background. Then he pointed to the canvas hanging behind us. Mine again. That one. She's in love with a ghost, isn't she? I blinked. You saw that. I feel it. No one had ever understood my work like that. Or maybe no one had cared to. I was going to leave early, I muttered. No one buys heartbreak on canvas. He leaned in. I buy every piece just to keep you painting. I laughed nervously, unsure if he meant it. You don't even know me. His hand brushed against mine. The touch feather light but electric. Not yet. We ended up in a quiet corner by the floor-to-ceiling windows. City lights blurred behind him like a dream. So? I asked, swirling my wine. Are you always this intense with strangers? He smirked. Only when they look like they've been waiting for someone to finally see them. My breath caught. That's a dangerous line. Truth usually is. I turned away, pretending to admire the art. But really I was just trying to keep my heart from leaping out of my chest. You live around here? He asked. Just moved in with my sister. She thinks I need to get out of my head more, do you? Maybe I could help with that. I stared at him. You move fast. You don't know, I said quietly. But maybe. I want to. He leaned in, and I swear, the room spun, then kissed me. I didn't think. I just closed the gap. His lips were soft, warm, tasting faintly of wine and temptation. His hands found my waist like he belonged there, and for a second, I forgot I was a woman who painted pain. I became the one who finally felt something real. Your hands are cold, he murmured later, as we walked out into the cool night air. I'm nervous, don't be. He glanced at me sideways. You're the most alive person I've met in years. You barely know me. He shrugged. Knowing someone isn't about time, it's about depth. We stopped beneath a flickering streetlight. He touched my cheek, fingers trailing down to my jaw. Come over, he said. My heart raced. What if this is a bad idea? What if it's the best one? His place was glass and steel. Modern but warm. A record played something soft and jazzy in the background. We sat on his velvet couch, sipping more wine, talking about everything and nothing. He rested a hand on my knee. You ever wonder if you're meant for more than what life's given you? All the time. He brushed my hair behind my ear. Then take it. I looked up at him. You're dangerous only to people who settle. And just like that, his mouth was on mine again, hot, demanding. We didn't speak for a long while, just touched, tasted, explored. I felt like I was flying and drowning all at once. My sweater slipped off my shoulder. His lips followed the exposed skin. I gasped, fingers tangling in his hair. Tell me to stop, he whispered. I don't want to. Hours later, I lay, curled on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. I don't do this, I murmured. Do what? Fall. He kissed my forehead, then fall harder. It should have scared me. Instead, it felt like coming home to a place I didn't know I'd been missing, until the phone buzzed. Caleb stiffened beneath me. He reached for his phone, screen lighting up his face in pale blue. Everything okay? I asked. He stared at the screen too long. Yeah, just a client. I waited. Are you going to answer? He flipped it over. Face down. Not tonight? I frowned. Is that your normal reaction to clients? He smiled. Too quickly. Let's not ruin this. Something twisted in my stomach. Caleb. He kissed me again. Should stay. I did. But I felt the first crack beneath my ribs. Do you ever open the blinds in here? I asked, dragging my fingers across the icy glass. Caleb leaned against the doorway, a coffee mug in hand. I like the view better at night. You can't see anything at night. I muttered. He walked over and kissed my temple. That's the point. It was romantic the first week, the shadows, the silence, the way he wrapped me in his world like it was a secret we shared. But secrets rot if you keep them too long. You sure about this? Sophie asked, kicking off her heels the moment she entered. He wanted me here. He also wants 3 locked rooms, a phone he never lets go of, and you pretending not to notice. I forced a smile. You sound like my mother. Your mother was right about your last boyfriend too. Don't do that. Fine, she raised both hands. But don't ask me to lie when you already know the truth. I turned to pour her wine. It's not like that, no. Then why didn't you tell me you haven't met any of his friends? I hesitated. Sophie sighed. Elara, you're living in a penthouse with a man who vanishes after midnight and dodges every real question like it's a game. I kept my voice low. I'm scared if I push, he'll pull away. She looked at me, really looked. Then maybe he's already gone. That night, Kayla came in late. Again. Hey, I said, pretending not to notice the time. You ate? He loosened his tie. I's tired. Meeting ran late. Who with? He kissed me. Don't do that. Do what? Ask questions you already don't believe the answers to. I pulled back. That's not fair. He dropped onto the couch. Neither is coming home and getting interrogated. Interrogated? I laughed bitterly. I asked if you ate. He rubbed his face. I'm tired, Elara. I can't fight tonight. I'm not trying to fight. I just God, never mind. He stood and crossed the room in 2 strides, hands cupping my face. You're here, that's what matters. But am I really here, or just convenient? His thumb traced my cheek. You think too much, and you don't think at all. We stared at each other. And just when I thought he'd say something real, something honest, he kissed me, deep and slow and practiced, and I let him because sometimes silence tastes like love when it really tastes like fear. 2 days later, while cleaning the bedroom, I dropped my necklace. It slid under the bed. I bent down to retrieve it, and that's when I saw it, a tiny, glinting object near the bed frame. I reached out, fingers trembling, and pulled it into the light. An earring, gold, teardrop-shaped, not mine. My throat closed. When Kayla came home, I was sitting at the kitchen island, the earring between us like a landmine. Is this yours? I asked, my voice steady. He glanced down. Where did you find that? Under the bed. His expression didn't change. It's probably old, belonged to someone before you. You've lived here for years, Caleb, and had guests who leave jewelry in your bed. His jaw flexed. What do you want me to say? The truth would be nice. He stepped back. I've never cheated on you, Elara. I stared at him. You didn't say you didn't know whose it was. Because I don't, and honestly, this feels like a trap. It's not a trap, I whispered. It's just a question. He exhaled sharply. You're spiraling. Sophie's in your head again. She's not wrong. And you're scared. So you're looking for reasons to run. I'm not scared of love, I said, standing. I'm scared of being stupid. He crossed the room and took my hand. Then stop listening to fear and start trusting me, and again I did. Because love doesn't always come with warning signs. But betrayal always leaves a trail. You didn't leave, Sophie said on the phone that night. I couldn't. You found another woman's earring in your bed, Elara. I know. And he swore it was nothing. She went quiet. He's gaslighting you. He held my hand when he said it. That doesn't make it true. I sat on the windowsill, looking down at the glittering city I once thought meant something. I think I'm in love with him. I think you're in love with the idea of him. I closed my eyes. What if I'm wrong? And what if you're right? Later, as I lay in bed beside him, I watched the rise and fall of his chest, so peaceful, so unreachable. Are you asleep? I whispered. He didn't respond. I stared at the ceiling. I couldn't shake the image of that earring, small, gold, unforgiving. It felt like proof, but also like poison. Was love supposed to feel like guessing games and cold sheets? I reached out and touched his shoulder. He stirred. Barely. Caleb, I whispered. Do you love me? He turned slightly. I'm here, aren't I? And maybe that should have been enough. But it wasn't. You're leaving again? I asked, trying to sound casual as I leaned against the kitchen counter. Caleb didn't look up from his phone. Client meeting. Downtown at 10 p.m. West Coast investor. Their timing's off, I folded my arms. And you couldn't take the call here? He finally glanced at me. Elara, please. I just never mind. He grabbed his jacket. Don't wait up. The door clicked shut behind him. I didn't breathe, didn't move. Just stared at the place he'd been standing. Then I grabbed my keys and followed. I kept my distance. His car turned left onto Lexington, and I stayed a few cars behind, hands shaking on the wheel. This is stupid, I muttered, paranoid and pathetic. But I didn't stop. He pulled into the valet of a high-rise hotel downtown. I parked across the street, heart thudding so loudly I thought it might echo through the windshield. He walked inside like he belonged there, and I followed. The lobby was dim and quiet. I kept my hood up, blending in with a group of tourists. Caleb didn't even check in. He knew exactly where he was going. He stepped into the elevator. I took the next one, fingers trembling as I pressed the button. Ninth floor. My palms were slick with sweat. What was I doing? What did I think I'd find? Room 903 was at the far end of the hallway. The lights flickered above it. Of course they did. I ducked behind a wide marble pillar across from the door and waited. The door opened. Caleb stood there, one hand still in his coat pocket, and then she appeared, long legs, black heels, red lips. She wrapped her fingers around his tie and pulled him inside like a scene from a movie. I never wanted to watch. The door shut. I didn't cry. I just stared at the number 903 until it burned into my vision. She suspects nothing, he'd said, laughing. She suspects nothing. God, I was nothing. I sat in my car, parked 2 blocks away, unable to start the engine. My fingers gripped the steering wheel like it might save me. His voice echoed in my ears. You're everything I didn't know I needed. You think too much. Trust me. I slammed my fist against the dashboard. Once, twice, liar, I whispered. Images flashed behind my eyelids, his hands on my waist, his lips on my collarbone. The way he'd said my name like a prayer, all of it felt like a joke now, a cruel joke. I curled into myself, pressing my forehead to the steering wheel. Why wasn't I enough? The silence didn't answer. Flashback. Come with me, he said once, brushing my hair behind my ear. Let me take you away from everything that ever hurt you. I'd smiled. What if you're what hurts me next? He kissed my wrist. Then I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. I wiped my face with the sleeve of my hoodie. My reflection in the rearview mirror was unfamiliar. Eyes swollen, mascara smudged, lips trembling. Elara, I whispered to myself. Get up. I didn't know where to go. I just knew I couldn't go back. The light from the dashboard painted my hands blue. My phone buzzed. Caleb, heading back soon. You okay? I stared at the screen. Okay, was I okay? My fingers hovered over the keyboard. Then I turned off my phone. I started the engine and drove. No destination, no plan. Just the sound of tires on wet pavement and the heaviness in my chest like a stone. I couldn't swallow. My mind replayed his laugh in the hallway. She suspects nothing. I did. I had. Now. I knew everything I wished I hadn't. I'm not her anymore. I whispered into the mirror. The girl with red eyes and a broken heart was gone. The silence had shaped something colder in me. Sharper. I hadn't spoken to anyone in weeks. Changed my number. Deleted my socials. I left everything behind: the apartment, the city, even my name on the lease. I didn't disappear to be safe. I disappeared to become dangerous. You sure you want to do this? Nathan asked as he slid the USB across the table. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't, I said, picking it up with steady hands. He leaned in. You leaked this and Caleb's done. No recovery. I looked him in the eye. Good. Nathan was an old friend from college, tech genius, hacker when he was bored. He owed me a favor from way back, and now he was helping me unearth Caleb's filth, shell companies, offshore accounts. He muttered, typing fast. This guy's not just cheating on you. He's cheating everyone. And Rachel? I asked. Nathan frowned. That's the cherry on top. He's engaged, secretly. A different name on the registry, RJ instead of Rachel. I blinked. He used initials. Nathan smirked. Cowards always hide behind letters. That night, I stood in the middle of my motel room, holding a photo of me and Caleb at the beach. We looked happy. He held me like I was the only woman in the world. I lit the match and watched the flames curl around our frozen smiles. You burned me first, I whispered. Now it's your turn. The ashes floated like feathers as the picture crumbled to nothing. Nathan, did it go through? I paced the room, phone pressed to my ear. Anonymous dropped to 3 news outlets. He confirmed fraud, tax, evasion, fake accounts, the engagement parts buried in the metadata. Perfect. They'll run it in hours. Once it's public, you can't undo it. I'm not trying to. You don't feel bad? I paused. No. Should I? His silence was my answer. The headline hit the next morning. Tech investor Caleb Darnell under fire for alleged fraud. Secret engagement. I sat on the edge of the motel bed, legs bouncing. My phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Unknown, you think you're clever. I'll find you, I smiled. Too late. 2 days later, his top investors pulled out. The next week, his CFO resigned. A week after that, his apartment was raided by the IRS. Karma's slow. I told Nathan, watching the coverage on TV. But she's always hungry, Nathan laughed, and you're feeding her 1 spoon at a time. Do you ever think about going back? Nathan asked one night, sitting on the hood of my car, a cigarette dangling from his lips. I shook my head. Back to what? Lies, gaslighting, crying myself to sleep while he was with her. He handed me the lighter. Then light another one. I stared at the last photo I had of Caleb, alone in his office, sleeves rolled, fake smile. I held it up and torched it. Burn it all, I said. Rachel emailed me. Subject, you could have just told me. I hit reply. You could have asked me before. Becoming the other woman. Send. I watched from afar as his social media went dark. His brand lost sponsors, his podcast stopped airing. No more press conferences. No more award shows. The king had lost his crown. And I didn't even have to touch him. Just whispered the truth and let it echo. Are you done? Nathan asked, sipping his coffee across from me. No, I said. Not yet. What's left? I stared out the window. I want him to feel what I felt. Not just lose things, lose himself. He nodded slowly. That's darker than I expected, then. Maybe you never really knew me. Nathan didn't respond. Weeks passed. Then months. I built a new life from the ground up, different hair, new city. Fresh name on the mailbox. But the burn inside me never cooled, not entirely. Some nights I still dreamed of room 903, of her fingers on his tie, of his laugh. But those dreams didn't make me cry anymore. They made me smile, because now he wakes up wondering who's next to betray him. Who's coming for him? And I sleep just fine. I didn't expect the knock. Not here, not now. I peeked through the peephole. And there he was, Caleb. Unshaven, hollow eyes. Hair a mess. He looked like regret wrapped in last year's suit. I opened the door just enough. You're not supposed to know where I live. His voice cracked. I asked Nathan, my stomach twisted. He didn't. I followed him, of course. I just need to talk, he said. I leaned against the doorframe. You've got 5 minutes. He stepped inside, slow and uncertain, like a man walking into a church to confess. The room suddenly felt smaller, air heavier. He looked around. This is different. I'm different. He dropped onto the edge of the couch, hands trembling. Rachel's gone. I raised a brow. And she left the moment the news hit. Said I ruined everything. Said she never signed up to be part of a public disaster. I crossed my arms. Sounds like you two were perfect. He flinched. I didn't come to fight. I stared at him, silent. I came because I'm done lying, he whispered. To everyone. Especially myself. You remember that night in Paris? He asked suddenly, voice shaking. When we danced in the street after the rain? I didn't answer. You wore that red dress, and I told you were the only thing that made me believe in magic. And then what? I said flatly. You flew to New York and slept with Rachel? His head dropped. I hated myself after that. No, Caleb, you hated getting caught. He got up, pacing now. Everything I had gone, investors, deals, friends. Do you know what that feels like? I laughed coldly. Do you? He froze. I stepped closer because I do. I know what it feels like to look in the mirror and not recognize a girl staring back. To doubt your worth every second. To choke on betrayal while the world keeps turning. Elara, you shattered me, Caleb. His face crumbled. And now you want what? A hug, forgiveness. He swallowed hard. I want you. I stared at him. The man I once thought I'd marry. The man who left me bleeding emotionally while holding someone else's hand. He reached out. I never stopped loving you. I didn't move. You loved power, control, applause. You loved that I made you feel like a king. But you never once loved me like I deserved. He blinked fast, as if trying to force tears. I kept my voice even. I'm not your lifeboat. I'm drowning. He said, and I'm not jumping in after you. He sank back into the couch. I know you did it. Silence. He looked at me. The leaks, the anonymous tips, the timing. It was you? I didn't blink. Prove it. He exhaled like the wind had left his lungs. I don't want to. Then why mention it? He looked at me with something close to admiration because, even when I had the whole world, you were still the one who could take it from me. My throat tightened. I didn't expect that to sting. But I held steady. You want me to feel sorry for you, I said. But you've never once said you're sorry. He stood slowly. I am, for all of it. That's not enough. I know, he whispered. But I had to say it, even if it doesn't fix anything. I opened the door. It doesn't. He stepped toward me. But I didn't back away. He looked me dead in the eye. You changed. I nodded. You helped. He looked down at my hand on the doorknob. So, that's it. You broke me, Caleb, and I rebuilt myself without you. He hesitated. Is there someone else? No, I said softly. There's me. That's enough. He looked like he wanted to argue, but couldn't find the words. I tilted my head. You came here expecting me to fall apart. He didn't deny it. I won't, as he stepped outside. He paused. You're really not coming back. I smiled faintly. Not even in your dreams. The door clicked, shut behind him. And for the first time since everything crumbled, I didn't feel haunted. I felt free. The gallery lights were too bright, the champagne too sweet, and the room too full of strangers pretending to understand pain on canvas. I stood by my newest piece, quietly watching them all. The lie that loved me, it dripped red and gold, chaos, and longing, a confession painted in silence. Then I saw him. Caleb. Hair slicked back like old times. Suit sharp. But he wasn't. His eyes were rimmed in red, and his fingers trembled around a folded paper. No. Not that. His voice found me. You wrote this the day you left. I froze. I found it in a box under my bed. He held up the letter. The one I never meant for him to see. You had no right, I said. I had every right, he snapped. Then softened. You wrote it to me. It wasn't for reading. It was for surviving. His eyes started to the painting. Is that what this is too? Survival? No, that's truth. Then tell me. He stepped closer. Was I ever more than a lie? I looked at him. You were everything, until you weren't. He opened the letter, voice cracking. You wrote, you loved me like a mirror loves light only when it flatters. That killed me. Good, I whispered. I didn't know. He said, not like that. I didn't know you cried in the bathroom, that you stopped eating, that you thought dying would be easier than waking up next to me. You never asked. He flinched. Like I'd slapped him. I didn't mean to become that person, he said. But you did. I was weak. No, I said. You were selfish. I lost everything, Elara. I nodded. And I found myself. He held the letter tightly. Why didn't you send it? Because you didn't deserve my truth, not then and now. I shrugged. Now it's out there, along with my scars. He looked around. These people, they look at your art like it's just paint, but I see it now. Every stroke screams. Pain doesn't scream, I said, it whispers. Until it owns you. He moved toward the painting. This one, is it about me? No, I said. It's about the version of me who believed. You were the answer. I never stopped loving you. I laughed. Dry? You stopped choosing me. That's the same thing. I'm not asking you to take me back, he said. I just want you to know I've changed. People like, you don't change, I said. You break things and call it growth. That's not fair. Neither was watching you kiss Rachel while I begged God to make me invisible. His eyes filled. She lied to me. About everything. She turned Liam against me. My mother won't speak to me. And you think that makes us even? No. He said, I think it makes me human. Then act like one, I snapped. Walk away. He stepped back. Is that really what you want? Yes. Then why are your hands shaking? I clenched my fists. Because this is the part where I could forgive you. But I won't, Elara. I love you so hard I forgot how to breathe without you, I said. Now I inhale pain and exhale fire. He looked down at the letter, unfolding it again. You wrote, one day, you'll feel hollow. And maybe you'll remember I once offered you all my light. I did, I said. And you used it to burn me. He pressed the paper to his chest. This letter is a lifeline. It was a goodbye. The gallery noise faded, and for a second, it was just us and the memory of what we almost were. He looked at me like I was salvation wrapped in shame. I don't deserve your words, he said. No, I agreed. You never did. He finally turned to leave, steps slow, shoulders heavy. But before he reached the door, I said quietly, Caleb. He turned. Don't return the letter, I said. Keep it. Let it hurt. He nodded once, lips tight. I already do. And just like that, the past walked out with him. And I didn't chase it. I'm not here to fight, I said, my voice almost too soft to hear over the hum of the streetlight. Caleb leaned against the brick wall, hands buried in his coat pockets. Then why are you here? To end it properly. He didn't speak, just nodded once like he already knew. I stepped closer. I lied to you. He blinked. Which time? All of them, I said. When I said I was fine, when I said I forgave you, when I said I didn't care. He looked away. I lied. I know, we stood there in the cold, under a flickering bulb like two ghosts with unfinished business. I watched you unravel, I said. And I didn't stop it. You wanted revenge. No, I said. I wanted peace. But watching you fall gave me something like it. He nodded slowly. You saw me with her. Yes. He winced. It wasn't what it looked like. I laughed once, bitter. It never is. He rubbed his face. I was broken. So was I. I didn't mean to hurt you. But you did. I didn't know how to love you right. You didn't even try. Silence pressed between us. Then he asked, do you still love me? I looked at him. Really looked his tired eyes. The lines around his mouth. The guilt stitched into his skin. Some wounds shouldn't be touched again, I said. Not even by the hands that made them. That's not an answer, no. I whispered, it's not. He stepped closer. I miss you. You miss the version of me that stayed quiet. That's not true. It is, I said. You loved the girl who let herself shrink for you. He swallowed hard. You were never small. You just never saw me. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the necklace he gave me on our first anniversary. Here, I said, placing it in his palm. You can keep the memory. He stared at it. This meant something. It used to. He looked up. Was any of it real? I nodded. Every single second. That's what made it hurt. He stepped forward again. Just tell me what I meant to you. Honestly. You were the lesson. I said, the storm I had to survive. He flinched, but didn't step back, and I continued. Was the girl who kept drowning? To keep you afloat. His voice cracked. I never wanted that. But you never stopped it either. I think about you every day. He whispered, then let me go. I said, I don't know how. You start by not chasing me. We stood in silence. Then he said, can I hold you one last time? My heart twisted, but I nodded. His arms wrapped around me like a memory trying to make itself matter again. I buried my face into his shoulder, breathed him in familiar, dangerous, aching. I'm sorry. He whispered into my hair. I know. I would have done it differently if I could go back. I wouldn't, I said. Because then I wouldn't have learned. He pulled back, eyes searching mine. One last kiss? He asked. It felt like goodbye already. I nodded. His lips touched mine, soft, hesitant, full of all the words we never said. It wasn't love, it was mourning. It was the final note of a song long over. When he pulled away, there were tears in his eyes. Will I ever see you again? He asked. No. I said. And I meant it. I turned and walked away, didn't look back, didn't need to. Some closures don't come wrapped in kindness, some come with silence and a final kiss in the dark. Your name's on the list again, Nathan said, handing me the invitation. Another gallery wants your work. I took it gently. That's the third one this month. He smiled. You sound surprised. I'm still getting used to people seeing me and not flinching. You've always been worth seeing. Elara. I gave him a soft smile. You say that like you mean it. I do. We sipped coffee on my balcony. The city buzzing below us, but my world felt calm for once. Do you miss him? Nathan asked. Sometimes, I said, watching the clouds drift, but not like I used to. He tilted his head. How do you miss someone who broke you? I don't miss the hurt, I said. I miss who I was before it, the girl who didn't know better. Would you go back? Not for anything, I whispered. Not after who I became. He reached for my hand but stopped halfway. Sorry, habit. It's okay, I said. I like that we can sit like this. No pressure. No pretending. Friends, he said. Friends. I nodded. He looked at me, hesitant. Do you think one day? I don't know. I cut in gently. I'm still learning how to be with myself, and you're doing it well. Later, I walked through my studio bare feet on cold wood, paint still drying on canvas. My life smelled like turpentine and freedom. I paused at an old piece tucked in the corner. Dark blues, heavy strokes, a woman bent in half, screaming. Into silence, I remember painting that. I said aloud, you said it was therapy. Nathan called from the kitchen. It was survival. My phone buzzed. New feature. Artist of the Month, Elara Vance. Healing through color. I laughed. Can you believe they're calling me healing? You are healing? Nathan said. Not always. Some nights I still wake up angry. Do you think that ever fades? I don't want it to, I said. It reminds me not to settle again. He leaned in the doorway. Do you think about him, Caleb? He nodded. Double quote sometimes. What do you feel when you do? Gratitude, Nathan. Blinked. That's unexpected. He taught me love, I said, then he taught me pain. And both burned away the parts of me that needed to go. Nathan didn't speak for a while. Then softly, you're not bitter anymore. No, I said, I'm better. I curled up on the couch, sketchbook in my lap. You ever think we could have had something? He asked from across the room. We do have something. You know what I mean. I looked up. I think you showed me kindness when I forgot what it felt like. And now? Now I know I don't need saving. I just need truth and space and time. He smiled. So no epic romance on the horizon, maybe, someday. But not the kind that asks me to shrink. Good, he said. Because you've grown too big to fit in someone else's shadow. I smiled, heartwarm, that night. I sat alone in front of a blank canvas. I didn't cry. I didn't ache. I just breathed, and I thought about the girl I used to be. The one who stayed quiet. The one who forgave too fast. The one who mistook chaos for love. And then I painted her. Not broken. Not weeping. But rising. Her eyes clear. Her posture strong. Her smile earned. Nathan peeked in. New piece, new me. He grinned. Title? I stared at the woman I just painted. Free, fierce, whole. And I said, the woman I became.